welcome to the Humans of Agriculture podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was a bit of a shock.
Mate, I'm interested to chat to you. Obviously, you've said that you've kind of only just wrapped up in the last couple of weeks going through the program, but for our listeners, it's my first time out in this part of the world. Can you explain a little bit about where we are and what you guys farm here?
We're in Baroda, which is about 3 hours north of Adelaide, up in North South Australia. We're a small to medium mixed farming business. Running sheep and cropping, mainly wheat, barley, and lentils. So it's it's an interesting sort of farming business that we're involved in.
And who's involved in it with you at the moment?
Yeah, so me and my wife Katie, we run it. We took over from my parents a few years ago. Mum and Dad are still reasonably heavily involved. Dad's sort of the cheap labour that I take on. He comes back sort of and works 2 or 3 days a week most weeks and through the busy periods, and Mum still helps out with the bookwork and whatever, but it's mine and Katie's business to either stuff up or make better. So yeah.
When it came to coming home, was farming always on the cards for you? Or?
Yeah, it was. As much as my previous boss tried to keep me. I went to uni, studied AgRi-silience, and then I worked as an agronomist off farm for 6 or 7 years following uni. My previous boss tried very hard to make me stay, but I think he always realised that I was probably going to end up back here. It was good. I worked part-time down there as an agronomist for a while. Then part-time agronomy, part-time farming, and that was a really good introduction to taking over the farm. So it wasn't like I was walking in not knowing anything about what we were doing here. So, it was always going to happen at some point.
And as I drove in some ways, it reminds me a little bit of some areas of California, and I don't know if it's just that hilly kind of backdrop to the east that you've got with the vineyards kind of.
Yeah, I can't say I've been there, but it's a great place to live. We're halfway between the hills and the sea, and it's only probably a 10 to 15k stretch between the hills and the sea. So we've got views all 360 degrees, and it's a great place to live. With one of my previous mentors when I was younger always said that Portumaine or Baroda was the center of the universe, and I think he's right. Most people just end up back here.
When it comes to this area, is there many young people running around? What's the demographics like?
Yeah, it's ever changing, I suppose, isn't it? Like everywhere. There's still a bit of an older generation around because of I think people just love the place and they just love living here. But yeah, when it comes to the agricultural side of things and the farming businesses around here, then the younger generation is certainly taking over. Mixed in with the older generation still, obviously, but there's definitely a driven younger generation around the place at the moment. And we've had a reasonable run of seasons, which has sort of helped that motivation, I suppose. So we get a year like we've just had, and it starts to put some pressure on. But yeah, so it'll be interesting over the next few years if we have a continued run of poor seasons, how the mindset changes in us younger farmers. But yeah, we hope that doesn't happen.
So where we're sitting right now, and I think that mindset piece is really interesting. So 2024 has been, I guess, reported as being a really tough year, but I guess my first time kind of understanding it, coming over and getting the chance to sit down with you. So how are you going right now, I guess, and where you're at with the season that's been?
Yeah, I think it's just the motivation side of things at the moment that's really lacking. We're the 15th of April today, I think it is, and generally we'd be looking at starting seeding any time from the 10th, and it just doesn't really feel like it at the moment. We're sitting here in 35-degree weather, the middle of April, and I think that's the really challenging part about it at the moment. We've still we've still got to go and put a crop in, because we're not going to not do that. But it's just challenging to get your mind into gear about that's what we got to do. Because like I think we've registered rain once this year. I think it was a 2 mil event, and we had a bit of rain over harvest. I think there was I looked at something the other day, and it was a 12-month period of literally 10 percentile or lower rainfall for the most of South Australia, to be honest. But for this area, which is 10 percentile, it's not unheard of, but it's pretty bloody rare. So we are in rare times. We're only on rainwater here. We've run out of rainwater in our rainwater tanks. And my dad said that's the first time that's ever happened. So yeah, it's that's where we're at the moment. But I think we had a reasonably good run of seasons prior to this, so we've sort of been able to build up our resilience, I suppose, to that point. So we're sitting okay at the moment. But I know there's some other areas around the place that have had some probably poorer seasons leading up to this as well that are really, really struggling. So yeah, that's sort of where it is.
Yeah, interesting state of play.
Yeah.
You mentioned before about around mentors. So would love to know, is it like formal mentoring, informal, and what role have they played through your life and especially your professional career?
Oh, yeah, like massive. That mentor I was talking about earlier on, he was actually just a bloke I used to play tennis with. But yeah, I guess there's lots of people around our area that you've grown up and you always look up to. But yeah, through uni and through when I started my agronomy, I wouldn't have got to where I am now without them and the knowledge that I have. Not that that's huge amounts of knowledge, but there's some very key people that have played a big role in my life so far, as they would in anyone's life. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned, I guess, being tested, or the resilience being tested. You went through the AgRi-silience program, but I guess you coming off the back of studying in uni, like a pop-up kind of intensive type program. Have you done other ones, or was this the first one in a little while?
No, this would be the first. I've done a little previous online courses and stuff, but nothing like this. So it was actually a good thing to get back into, because you go to uni and you're in that sort of mindset and whatever, and you come out and you're glad to be out, but you sort of miss that sort of interaction a bit too, and that learning. So yeah, no, it was good to do a course like that, and yeah, I think we'll be looking for more things to do like that going forward. Yeah.
What was it that got you to sign up and pull the trigger on it?
It was mainly my dad. He was the one who was sort of pushing me to do it. But I actually, at the time, I was president of the local ag bureau, and Penny Keynes approached me to try and promote the program in amongst the bureau, and I hadn't looked at it too much before that point. But now that I was trying to promote the program, it sort of got me looking at it. I'm like, oh, that would actually be quite good. So that was probably what drove me towards doing it. But also just like, yeah, we're a young couple taking over a family business. We don't want to stuff it up. We don't really know that much about our business, particularly my wife. I think it was massive for her to be involved in. So yeah, we wanted to learn more about our business and how we can make it better. Resilience, sustainability, that sort of thing. So yeah, it was, once I actually looked into it properly, I think it was, pretty much a no-brainer to just go and do.
Once you read beyond the brochure.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Was it conversations with other people that kind of got you to understand a bit more about the program, or was it just your own Googling and whatever?
Probably a conversation with Penny about it a bit, but yeah, more so just reading into it and realizing that we need to build something. our business needs to be sustainable. It's just, like I said, a small to medium sized business, so it only takes a couple of years for things to go wrong, and you're on your ass sort of thing. So, yeah, we we wanted to learn more about our business and then build it, to future proof it, I suppose. So yeah, it was a bit of everything.
And when you say like learning about your business, it was everything from financials to like the people
Yeah,
involved.
yeah. I think a lot of it was driven from the financial side of things and actually understanding the financials in the business. I've got I had a bit of an idea, just going through and doing the bookwork every day sort of stuff. But yeah, my wife's pretty green when it comes to that sort of thing, and she wants to be involved. So it was massive for her to sort of start looking at some of that. But also, one of the initial things that we did right at the start of the program was looking at a strategic plan. And we've always talked about having goals, and how we should be having goals and stuff, but you never actually sit down and do it. So having that time to actually sit down and go through. We didn't necessarily go through and make the strategic plan right then and there, but just looking at the process and of how to do it and what to do it, was a really key thing, straight up, basically. So yeah, that was really good.
And you mentioned a couple of times that you don't want to stuff up the business.
Yeah.
Maybe a goal, but are you able to share a couple of those goals that you've got for the business here?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of it was based around organization, trying to make the business, um, organized to the point where you. Our biggest goal was, I suppose, to have more family time, have more holidays, have more family time. So if we can make the business organized to the point where I can afford to take a week off rather than staying home and working, well, that's what we're striving for, basically. And there was other things based around, I guess, increasing expansion and those sorts of things, but they're things that come after the initial point. If you can get yourself organised enough, and I find I'm taking months of holidays because I can afford to, time wise, well, that's when you realise, okay, I think we can probably do more in the business now. But that's a long way from where we're at the moment. So yeah.
And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's kind of that whole like if and then piece. And it's like, oh, if we can just grow the business and get another property, then I'll be able to
Yeah.
hire someone and have more time. Whereas,
Yeah, and that's a discussion that we've had too. Yeah. And that comes with a whole host of other, complexities to it as well. So if we, my feeling is that, yeah, we'd love to grow the business, but we need to be doing what we're doing now right before we can really go and do that and really push the system.
and
So
enjoying it along the way too. I reckon,
absolutely,
hey?
yeah, yeah. I don't think that. I'm sure my father would disagree, but I don't think there'd be any point where you wouldn't enjoy this job or this lifestyle, because you wouldn't do it otherwise. I don't think.
Yeah.
It's not the sort of job you just do because you want to earn money. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to love it to do it. So, yeah. But you're right. You don't want to be. You want to be able to come home and switch off. I suppose that's the main thing.
And they say that knowledge is power, especially on the financial side. Interesting. Was it was it for you eye-opening or alarming in terms of just getting a greater clarity and picture on that?
It was overwhelming. Like, so I had a basic understanding about where our business was. But my wife, we've got a young child, and since taking over the business, she hasn't had the time to really engross herself in it. So for her to go along and look at that financial stuff and just simple basic financial stuff, it was very overwhelming for her, but it was good as well, because it actually gives her the time to sit down and look at that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, it was challenging. The day that we basically spent a full day on financial stuff, and yeah, it was a long day. But it was really good. we've still got a long way to go. Like we've one of the benefits of the program is the subject matter expert that you get following it, X amount of dollars to spend on whatever you want. So we're looking into doing some benchmarking around our business and looking at some machinery investment stuff, because I think that's something that we really need to work on. We've got a lot of old equipment that all needs to be upgraded at some point, but you need to sort of work through when that is, and you don't want to have to do it all at the same time. So that's that side of the financial side of things is something that we're looking forward to doing, because I think that's a real key to helping our business along the way.
Yeah, it was really interesting when I sat down with Rachel and Mark, and how they were talking about the benefit of the initial program, but then that continuing relationship they've got with their subject matter expert has been huge for their business.
Yeah, and we had a couple of different ideas about subject matter experts, and the one that we eventually ended up going with, Pinion, we were probably, regardless of whether we were going to use a subject matter expert for them or not, we were probably just going to use them anyway, because of the input that they can provide to our business. Dad and myself have both been worked off farm, doing things off farm, and sometimes it's a good thing because you bring your knowledge in, but sometimes you forget that it's good to get other input, outside input as well. So we've never really had apart from the accountant, we've never really had a great deal of other input coming into our farm business. So I think that's a real key thing that we need to start to do. And whether that's agronomy or whether that's farm business management, that's the way we're going at the moment, but it should be probably both, rather than just thinking you can do it all yourself, which you can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to be a continuing relationship, I'm hoping.
Yeah, there's something so empowering. Like, I'm doing it in our business at the moment, just getting someone else to help. And like, I guess we're a marketing media business, but getting someone with that background and expertise to come and look at stuff. And it's honestly the most vulnerable thing ever, where I was like, oh, here's everything. And you're going to tell me that this is shit and that's shit. But also on the flip side, it's like, this is going to be amazing to have someone else's opinion to come in and really get the forensic gloves on and look at the business, and then go, hey, I've noticed X, Y, Z. Yeah. And we'll be better for it.
Yeah. That's the idea of it. Not only looking at what you can do better, but what you're doing well now too is an important part of it as well. So yeah, no, really looking forward to that side of things.
And in that transition from your old man to yourself, is there something that you've really tried to bring in and implement into the business?
Probably less stress.
Yeah.
my dad gets stressed a lot about pretty simple little things at times. I'm like to think I'm pretty relaxed most of the time, which sometimes isn't the best thing. But I think I'm just trying to bring it to the point that you if we don't get that done today, we'll get it done tomorrow, or that sort of thing. So I think that's probably the main thing, because that stress reflects all through your life, really. Like it obviously reflects on you, probably this decision making on farm, but also when you get home and what you're saying to your kids or your wife and all of that. And you don't want to, if you are going on a 1 or 2 day getaway or something, you don't want to be thinking about all the stuff that you didn't do at home. You just want to be switching off as much as you can. So, and I don't know, you have to keep thinking about that stuff when you're away from the farm too, but you don't want it to let it affect you when you're trying to have that time away. So yeah, that's probably the main thing.
Yeah. But it's interesting. So on that stress piece, like Mark shared with me, when I was sitting down with him, that he literally spent a bit of time going around and writing down like his to-do list.
Yeah.
And I think he ended up with 150 things on it.
It's scary.
And he's put it up in the shed though now.
Yeah.
And he's saying that now he doesn't have to think, that the gate latch needs to be done. It's like, oh, well, if someone's got a bit of time or you're kind of pottering around, it's like, all right,
Yeah, and that's something that you do subconsciously in your head a lot of the times,
Yeah.
and that what makes it. No one else knows what you're thinking about, and yeah, no, and we've been trying to find a good platform to not only share notes like that, but also like calendar notes and stuff, so that because a lot of the time, dad will come to work, and we'll spend half the day discussing what we have to do, rather than actually going and doing it. So yeah, putting those things down, and that was a major thing that we got out of doing the AgRi-silience program too, just going through and working out what we needed, how we can organize our business better. And I think that was one of the main big things that we decided that we needed to do, to try and whether that is a whiteboard in the shed sort of thing, that's the simplest way to do it.
Yeah.
It's just now sitting down and doing those sorts of things that we need to work on. So yeah.
Yeah. And because you've only recently done and completed the program,
Yeah.
is it too soon to ask you what are you carrying forward, or is it front of mind now with what you're trying to implement?
Yeah, like I say, like I don't think we've necessarily. I think the mindset's changed a bit, in terms of actually, knowing what we want to do and being motivated to do those things, but we haven't actually done any of it yet. So we haven't actually had our subject matter expert yet, and that'll probably be in a couple of months' time, hopefully. But yeah, then we've started the process of trying to organise, I guess, the practical side of the farm business. So like the organise the workshop and organise the sheds and stuff. We've been trying to do that sort of thing, but we need to sit down and actually organise our communication a little bit better amongst ourselves. And most people wouldn't think it would be a key thing in a small business like ours, like whereas it's my wife and my dad, really, they're the main two components of it. But even that needs to be spot on, otherwise you just get lost in the end. So yeah, it's all important.
And have you found that you've kind of given yourselves roles in the business, or would that already kind of exist?
It definitely exists. Like I said before, Dad just thinks he's cheap labour, which he is, but he's more than cheap labour.
He's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Mentor. He's the mentor. So yeah, we I don't necessarily think we've laboured ourselves as anything, but we know our roles. And the challenging part about that at the moment is, and everyone goes through it, having young children, that adds a whole another layer to it, because you're trying to focus yourself on work, but then it gets to 5 o'clock or 5:30 and think, shit, I got to get home and help, and you come home and you got a screaming household at you, and that you just got to get through that. That's just part of it. So, and it just means that what I hope and what Katie hopes to be her involvement in the farm, she's not able to do that at the moment because she's busy looking after children, and that'll only get better as time goes on. So, yeah.
Do you think you look at the business differently now in terms of from a resilience view, in terms of where you're actually at and where you're heading?
Yeah, I think going into the program, like I said earlier, we probably already had a reasonably resilient business as it was, but I think it's been good to actually understand why that is, and then also what we can do even better again.
What would you say to people like your mates? So obviously you said you're involved in the Ag Bureau, but what are you going to like say to your mates about programs like this and just professional development more broadly?
It's highly beneficial. Yeah, like if you want to gain a better understanding of how your business works and what you can do to improve it, yeah, doing a course like this is really good, because not only are you talking to people and getting knowledge from people that are involved in it all the time, but it actually gives you the chance to sit down and do it, because you can go and do the book work or do whatever you want, but you're never actually going to sit down and try and understand the intricacies of your business unless you actually sit down and do it in a course like this. Or I don't think, because you're just too busy doing other things. If you're not working, you're trying to spend some family time, or doing a whole host of other things. So, and unless you're really driven to do those sorts of things, I don't think people just don't do it. So, yeah, no, I'd highly recommend it to any of my mates. And it's not, I think it was really good for us as a young generation coming into a business. But I don't think it's just for that either. Like, we had a couple of older farmers in our group, and one particular that was a family. They had the whole family there basically, and they were looking at all hosts of things from succession to financials and all of that. So, like, it's not just for younger generation. We had a really good session on succession planning, and we are probably 75% of the way through a succession plan, but we've still got work to do on that too. So, but like, if you're an older farmer who hasn't started their succession plan, like, I think it's a really good thing to look at, because that session was really good, really eye-opening.
A lot highlighted around listening, communication when it came to succession, I take it?
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that's something that we do okay here, communication-wise, but it can always be improved. But that was us going into our succession plan, but that was the main thing that was brought up. If you're thinking something, say it, because there's nothing worse than just sitting in the corner and something boiling away. And just keep that communication open, because that's what makes everything easier. No one knows what you're thinking.
God, no one's that powerful to read a mind.
That's right.
Or unfortunate, maybe.
Yeah, no, well, that's true. Yeah.
But is there anything else that you wanted to cover and talk about?
No, I think that pretty well covers it. Yeah, like I say, we didn't really know what to expect going into the program, but we've certainly come out of it with a renewed sense of enthusiasm to improve the business, I suppose. And it's probably deflected us a bit from what's going on and happening around us, with dust flying everywhere every day at the moment. So, it's been good to just take your mind off of that and put your mind into something else.
Come back to what you can control and
have
influence.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, you can't control anything that's happening outside at the moment. It is what it is, and you got to move on. But yeah, if you can build your business to a point to make it survive these tougher times, then you're better off. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down, John.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Now, they do say that feedback is a gift, and it's something that we absolutely love to have here. If you want to flick us a message, send us one on your favourite social media app. We'll get back to you. Otherwise, if you'd like to, please rate and review. A 5-star rating or a little bit of feedback always helps us continue to make the show better. And we have the conversations that matter. Enjoy your day. Keep smiling. We'll see you soon. Bye.